Hello and welcome back to another analysis behind the news. Here it is in my hand, the long-anticipated 4-page Nunes Memo of alleged misconduct by the Obama FBI and Department of Justice utilizing Section 702 or 702 surveillance against the Trump campaign with absolutely no redactions, and after reading it, wow. Upon declassifying the memo and giving his nod for the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence to make the document public, President Trump told reporters, quote, "A lot of people should be ashamed of themselves." And he further added, quote, "I think it's a disgrace what's happened in our country." And after you see what's in this memo, you'll agree that indeed they should be disgraced. So let's delve right into it. According to the purpose statement of the official 4-page memo, the document reads, "Our findings, which are detailed below, 1. Raise concerns with the legitimacy and legality of certain DOJ and FBI interactions with the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISC, and 2. Represent a troubling breakdown of legal process established to protect the American people from abuses related to the FISA process." According to the memo, quote, on October 21st, 2016, Department of Justice and FBI sought and received a FISA probable cause order not under Title VII authorizing electronic surveillance on Carter Page from the FISA court. Page is a U.S. citizen who served as a volunteer advisor to the Trump campaign. This is in direct violation of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, also known as FISA. Under Section 702 of FISA, the federal government that is primarily the National Security Agency, they're authorized to collect and analyze electronic communications like emails, text messages, or phone calls that have been stored by U.S. Internet service providers. However, the target individuals have to be non-U.S. persons or citizens, and they have to be located outside of the United States. In other words, they can only spy and gather information from foreigners overseas. Of the collected information has to be for the, quote, significant purpose of obtaining, quote, foreign intelligence information. But as a U.S. citizen born in Minneapolis, Carter Page was not and is not a non-U.S. person, which automatically disqualifies him from such shadowy surveillance and furthermore represents a serious and gross violation of Mr. Page's Fourth Amendment rights under the Constitution and Bill of Rights. Furthermore, according to the memo citing FISA requirements, quote, the application had to be first certified by the director or deputy director of the FBI. So in other words, either former Obama FBI Director James Comey or then FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, who as of this past Monday, earlier this past week, is no longer the Deputy Director of the FBI. The memo specifically naming names of top key Obama officials at the Justice Department reads, quote, then Director James Comey signed 3 FISA applications in question on behalf of the FBI, and Deputy Director Andrew McCabe signed 1. Then Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates, then Acting Deputy Attorney General Dana Boent, and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein each signed 1 or more FISA applications on behalf of the Department of Justice. This is only the tip of the iceberg of the infamous, now discredited dossier about Trump and his supposed ties to Moscow. The memo reads, quote, the dossier compiled by Christopher Steele, the Steele dossier in other words, on behalf of the Democratic National Committee and the Hillary Clinton campaign, formed an essential part of the Carter Page FISA application. For those who don't remember, Christopher Steele was a former British intelligence officer with ties to both the FBI and the U.S. intelligence community, who, according to the memo, quote, was paid over $160,000 by the Democratic National Committee and Clinton campaign via the law firm Perkins Coie and research firm Fusion GPS to obtain derogatory information on Donald Trump's ties to Russia. Now it turns out that the phony research paid for by Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party was, quote, an essential part of the FISA surveillance of a Trump campaign advisor. Malfeasance, anyone? I.e., that is, the wrongdoing or misconduct by a public official? Even more alarming, according to the memo, the initial FISA application nor any of the required follow-up referrals omit the fact that Steele was being paid by Hillary and the DNC. Instead, according to the memo, quote, the initial FISA application notes Steele was working for a named U.S. person, but does not name Fusion GPS and Principal Glenn Simpson, who was paid by a U.S. law firm, Perkins Coie, representing the Democratic National Committee, even though it was known by the Department of Justice at the time that political actors were involved in the Steele dossier. The application does not mention Steele was ultimately working on behalf of and paid by the Democratic National Committee and Clinton campaign, or that the FBI had separately authorized payment to Steele for the same information. What a convenient omission. Was this an honest mistake and lapse of accuracy, or an intentional omission to cover up and protect both Hillary and the Democratic Party? The FISA application for gathering the information on page, quote, also extensively cited a September 23, 2016 Yahoo News article by Michael Isikoff, which focuses on Page's July 2016 trip to Moscow. The article does not corroborate the Steele dossier because it is derived from information leaked by Steele himself to Yahoo News. Instead, the memo states that the, quote, Page FISA application incorrectly assesses that Steele did not directly provide information to Yahoo News. Steele has admitted in British court filings that he met with Yahoo News and several other outlets in September 2016 at the direction of Fusion GPS. In fact, it was Steele's serious breach of confidentiality by meeting with media outlets like the arch-liberal Mother Jones that he was fired by the FBI as an informant. The memo further details that, quote, before and after Steele was terminated as a source, he maintained contact with Department of Justice via the then Associate Deputy Attorney General Bruce Orr, a senior DOJ official who worked closely with Deputy Attorney General Yates and later Rosenstein. Shortly after the election, the FBI began interviewing or documenting his communications with Steele. For example, in September 2016, Steele admitted to Orr his feelings against then-candidate Trump when Steele said he, quote, was desperate that Donald Trump not get elected and was passionate about him not being president. This clear evidence of Steele's bias was recorded by Orr at the time and subsequently in official FBI files, but not reflected in any of the Page FISA applications. Of this, the memo concludes, quote, while the FISA application relied on Steele's past record of credible reporting on other unrelated matters, it ignored or concealed his anti-Trump financial and ideological motivations. Furthermore, Deputy Director McCabe testified before the committee in December 2017 that no surveillance warrant would have been sought from the FISA court without the Steele dossier information. So what does this all mean? Basically, the basis for the FBI, DOJ, and DNI's investigation of the Trump campaign, which spawned the current dubious Mueller-Russia probe, of alleged collusion between Trump and Russia were based off of lies motivated by partisan political ideology and were not an objective quest for any wrongdoing of which neither the FBI or the current Mueller investigations have managed to uncover. The tainted fruits of everything that came from the Steele dossier, including the present Mueller investigation, are wrong and should be null and void. They are desperate attempts by the then Obama administration and now opposition party Democrats to thwart Trump's anti-globalist America First agenda. These people have still not gotten over the fact that Hillary, who was to be the heir of the globalist agenda in the White House, lost. They hoped that their investigation would bring Trump down. Instead, it's proving to be their own undoing. Hopefully, this will in fact be more than enough to fire Mueller and end the deep state's ploy against Trump so we can, in turn, get back to truly making America great again, which begins with informed citizens like you and I being educated about the Constitution and the issues at hand. Again, we encourage you to be part of the solution by becoming an active and informed citizen through membership in the John Birch Society. Together, we can and we will expose the deep state and its treacherous globalist anti-American agenda and return to constitutional, less government, more responsibility, and with God's help, a better world.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. Click here to watch more videos, and click here to visit our site.